Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to the Live Garden. It's August now. Let me give you a tour of my vegetable garden. So this is where I'm growing bottle gourds and my tomatoes. The bottle gourds plants have been doing really well. It's nearly end of summer. The July has been really bad in terms of rain and cold, but the bottle gourds plants have done really well, mashallah. We've harvested quite a lot of bottle gourds last week and the week before. Hopefully, we're going to get some more uh, few weeks of warm weather to help us increase our harvest. The tomatoes here have been doing really well as well. A lot of the tomatoes started to ripen now, and we've harvested quite a lot of tomatoes as well. My plan initially to put the tomatoes in front of the bottle gourd plants have worked really well. It has been blocking the wind and provided the bottle gourds with a little bit extra shelter as well. So, yeah, this is something that I will probably be doing in the future as well. Just keeping the tomato plants in front so that that these plants can block winds. In this side, I have my hyacinth beans, and hyacinth beans, as you can see, they have started to flower few weeks now, and we've harvested few hyacinth beans, not much, but they're in full bloom at the moment. This variety doesn't grow very long, but they have been producing hyacinth beans for us, which is really good to see. And then alongside my hyacinth bean plants, this main bed is dedicated to chili plants. So these are all super hot chili plants that I'm growing in ground. Okay, so the chili plants here have been doing really well as well. Not as good as the ones that I have in the greenhouse, but they are starting to produce pods. Some of the varieties are doing better than the others, but all of them are now in full bloom. Hopefully by the end of autumn, I shall be able to harvest some chili pods from here. So this is my flower border, but I do have some vegetable in this border as well. So I have some Malabar spinach in here. We've harvested a few Malabar spinach last week. They've been doing really well as well. They've been climbing up the fence. I have a trellis system in here, and as you can see, it's going over the trellis system. This is my main brassica growing bed. Here I have collards, as well as some Brussels sprout and red cabbages. So collards, Brussels sprout, and red cabbages are thriving in this bed. I haven't harvested any collards yet. They seem to be coming up. The Brussels sprouts are ready to harvest, which I will be harvesting soon. The cabbages are taking very long time to form cabbage heart, but they will eventually get there. Behind these plants, on the other end, I am also growing some pumpkins and courgettes as well. So the pumpkins plants are taking over now, and I can see a lot of the pumpkins are now forming. So these will be it looks like it will be a really good harvest this year for pumpkins. I've grown the pumpkin plants in ground, and I haven't yet watered the plants, and no fertilizers at all. As you can see, the plants are thriving. So as you can see, you don't need a lot of fertilizers or watering if you have the right space and right soil in there. In here, I'm growing some amaranth that I transplanted probably about a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago. So amaranths are growing nicely. Next to the amaranth, I also have some okras in this bed. There are two varieties of okras, and okras in ground outside of greenhouse, I don't think we have the right climate. I do have some okras forming, but these plants seems to be stunted, and rightly so because of the really wet July that we had. In here, I also have some chili plants, of course different varieties. I also have a couple of Egyptian spinach, and Egyptian spinach I'm growing the Egyptian spinach just for testing as an experiment. It looks like they're growing, but they're not really thriving. Right, so here I'm growing different varieties of courgettes in here, just like zucchinis. I have 6 different zucchini plants in here. I have yellow variety as well as green variety. We have harvested quite a lot of zucchinis already, and especially the green one. Green one produces much more zucchinis than the yellow one. I have both the cylindrical green zucchini as well as the round shaped green zucchini. The yellow uh, variety is the Starburst one, so they're doing really well. Next to the zucchini plants, I am also growing the beetroots and New Zealand spinach. So beetroots I've transplanted is probably a couple of weeks now, and these are for winter harvest and they're thriving. The New Zealand spinach here, this is my second sowing. I'm growing New Zealand spinach mainly on the other bed next to the chili, super hot chili plants, and I've harvested New Zealand spinach from there. But this sowing, it was done probably a couple of weeks back. Also here I have cucumbers. So cucumbers have been producing well, but the plants not really thriving, and I think is due to the really cold weather and the rainy July that we had. That's why the cucumber plants have not thrived, but they have been producing and we've been getting harvest. So I'm quite happy with the produce that I've got from the cucumber plants. Right, so here in this section I am growing again more chili plants, different varieties of chili plants. I also have some amaranths in between, interplanted, and they're doing well. The chili plants not doing really well, and again because these are in ground. In this side I'm growing the dwarf runner beans, and we have already harvested quite a lot of dwarf runner beans from here, and the plants are still in bloom and they're still producing more runner beans from here. So these have been really good. Dwarf runner beans is actually one of my favorite because it doesn't need support, so, and it also produces quite early, so this has been doing really well. Right, in this section of my garden I have some taro plants. I have 5 taro plants in here just next to the pumpkin patch that I have. The taro plants have been doing really well in the last couple of weeks. They took a long time to get going, but it seems like the taro leaves have now started to bulk up, and I'm sure we'll be able to get some harvest from the taro plants to get some taro leaves from here. This is my metal raised bed. So in this raised bed I have some dwarf tomato plants in here. They are producing like crazy. Also I have some chili plants, just regular chili plants for curries, and there are 2 different variety, and they have started to bloom now, and surely they will produce some chilies soon. At the front of this raised bed I am growing sweet pepper in here, and you can see the sweet peppers have started to the pods started to being produced now, and I'm sure there will be a lot of nice size pods that we'll be able to harvest in the coming weeks. Next to the sweet peppers, I am also growing some more Malabar spinach. So this is the red variety, and Malabar spinach in this section has been doing really well. We've harvested a few times now. On either side of the Malabar spinach there are squash plants, and I am training those squash plants to go grow over the garden fence that I have, and we have harvested probably 3 or 4 squash to date, but it seems like they will be keep on producing until the winter cold kills them. In here I also have more winter squash plants, and again the roots are in this metal raised bed, and they're just crawling over the ground in here, and they're thriving. They have produced few squashes already. Here you can see I'm growing some lettuces. These are the only lettuce plants that I have in my garden at the moment. Next to the lettuces I have kohlrabi. It seems like the kohlrabis have been attacked by the white butterfly, so I'll have to probably keep an eye on these. I also have cabbages in here, and I had a couple of cabbages, green cabbages in here. I've already harvested one, but there's another one ready to be harvested. And next to those cabbage and lettuces, I have the mint patch, and they're going crazy. And next to the mint, I have the regular runner beans. So you can see the regular runner beans is covered at the moment, covering the trellis system that I put in place. There are two varieties in here, and they are doing really well. There's a purple variety which is in flower at the moment, but there are the green variety which was much which produces pod much earlier, and we've been able to harvest quite a few pods from the green variety on this side. So here I have, this is my regular chili plant raised bed. So these are not super hot chili plants, these are regular chili plants. Again, I have different varieties, and these chili plants actually been doing really well. You can see they're in full bloom at the moment, and some of the plants have produced pods really early, and they are ripening. So there are different varieties, but these plants, I'm really happy with these plants, the way that these plants are producing pods. Interplanted between the chili plants are the salad onions, and you can see the salad onions are really nicely looking and healthy. The onion leaves are really nice and large, and we've harvested regularly over the last few weeks the salad onion leaves, and it's always nice to add those in the salads or in the dishes that we cook. Here I also have some spare dwarf runner beans that I transplanted probably about 1 month ago, and probably more than that. These plants, when I transplanted in here, didn't do very well because of the very windy weather, but they seem to have come back, and again they've produced quite a few pods that we were able to harvest from here. Next to the dwarf runner beans, I have a couple of Korean spinach plants, and they have grown quite a bit in the last couple of weeks because of the fact that I was growing earlier Chinese cabbages in here, and those Chinese cabbages that are not here at the moment because I've harvested them. These Chinese cabbages were blocking a lot of lights from getting into those for these plants, for these Korean spinach plants. But now that I've harvested the Chinese spinach, these spinach plants have now they have more lights to produce those healthy looking leaves. Right, moving on. In this raised bed, I grew Chinese potol. The Chinese potol, they have been constantly producing the potol for us. We've now harvested them. There are still a few remaining. The plants seems to be at their late stage at the moment, which means they're not probably going to last that long now, but they're still kept on producing the Chinese potols. But the production has been really good. Really happy with those. Underneath the Chinese potols, I am growing some water spinach and also chard. I've harvested chards last week, and also a few times before that. So the chard's been doing really well. And then in this side, I have cucumbers, again, different variety of cucumbers. They have produced quite a bit, quite a large number of cucumber for us. The plant, again, not produced so many different branches, but they have been producing quite a lot of cucumbers for us that we were able to harvest. There are different varieties in here, which I'm not going to go into. If you're interested which variety of cucumbers I'm growing, please look up my previous updates. In this section, I'm growing some chilies, super hot chili plants in containers. So these were my backup chili plants. Again, there are different varieties, so they're doing quite well. And then next to the chili plants, I have the okra plants in here that I'm growing as an experiment, because I want to see what the difference between the container grown okras in comparison to the in-ground grown okras. Both seems to be doing not really well. The container grown one doing a little bit better than the in-ground one, but we'll see. you've seen in my previous updates that I'm growing onions in here. So these onions have been doing really well. Again, you can see that over the last few weeks they started to the bulb started to become larger, and as the time goes, we still have few more weeks, if not month, for these bulbs to get even larger. The way it's been growing, I'm really happy with this progress. Next to it, I also have 3 red cabbage plants. So these red cabbage plants, they started to form the cabbage hut. They're taking really long time, but they are getting there. Next to the red cabbage plant, I have some chili plants scattered in here, which you can't really see because of the flower, my flower plants, but they're there. So there you go. That was the tour of my vegetable garden. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and share, and also subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.